that is Tiny closing today. Jane.
Julia.
Brendan. Tolga.
Cliff.
Leon. Heyman.
Jimmy.
Ben.
Cam.
Tasha.
Steve.
Peter.
Adrian.
Tibor. Dean.
Mitra. And Bob.
Hi everyone. Haven't been to Flash for the last couple of weeks. I don't know how far I'll get today, but still, if you can put up with it, you'll get it. If I can't go any further, you can sort it out amongst yourselves, which you can do. Everybody's got a taste of it that comes here, and they know what it is. It's just carry on from there. And you know what we talk about, what they call non-duality. One of the ancient traditions. And if you don't know what it means one without a second, not two. Or they call it Sat, Chit and Ananda Rupa in Hinduism. Sat is existence, Chit is consciousness, Ananda is bliss or loving to be, not the bliss the greatest. It's esoteric of it, wonderful, marvellous state, but the ordinary, natural presence, awareness, there's with each and every one of you now, if you quieten down enough to hear it. It's the very life of you. It's breathing you, beating your heart, growing your hair and your fingernails, digesting your food, causing this and that and everything else to occur or not to occur. And it doesn't matter which way it goes. And overall, pointing out in its non-duality, one without a sentence, they say the great perfection, the basic space of phenomena. Now have a look at that word space. And you know there's space all around you. But we're ignoring it. We're not taking much notice of it. We're taking the content of space. The concepts, ideas, thoughts, feelings and emotions that go on in space. Take them to be real. Not realising that the space itself is the base of everything. Can you postulate or think of anything outside of space? If you can, well tell us about it. And you realise you can't. The space is the base of everything. And if it's non-dual, one without a second, that's all there is space. Well, what is the search on about? All these religions and traditions come about trying to become something. Something they put out there that there's some greater power or God or something that's much greater than us. And yet, if you look at those scriptures too, they'll tell you that clearly. The Lord thy God is one God, there is none other. Be still that know that I am God. Those are the scriptures. You'll see it. In the Bible it tells you, it was in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God. Pointing out that's all there is. That Word is God is a Word. All things were made by Him, by this Word, and there was nothing made that was made without the Word. Well, isn't that so? We're all using words for everything, putting different meanings, different concepts into them. And the thing is, we're believing those concepts and words, believing to be what they are. But they're not. What is word when you look into it? Isn't it sound? What is sound? Is the sound a vibration? And what's a vibration? A movement of energy? So all this manifestation, all these pattern shapes and forms are vibrating into patterns of energy. That's this body, that's this mind, that's this tree, the flower, the planets, the stars. Everything is that. And that's the great mental they talk about. I am that. And we hear that and we say, well, if I'm that, well, I've got to become some great lord or master or something like that that's got to sit on the throne and tell everybody what to do. And if not going right, a pat them on the head with a peacock feather or something and everything will be right. But we look into these things and see it's not so. But in that pure awareness of being, and is there anyone here who is not aware of being right now? You can't say you are unaware. You can say it, of course you can. You can say, oh, I'm unaware, I'm unaware. But what enables it to be said? Could you say it if that life wasn't there? Or that being or knowing wasn't there? You couldn't say anything about it at all. But you can't negate that beingness or knowingness or awareness. And they tell you that too, that the awareness of being is the blissful state. You want the blissful state. Just be aware that you are. Basis the thought of it as I am. I am is just a concept. We say to be this person, this body, this mind. But I am. Say that to yourself and ask yourself, I am this body. Are you the body? When you're looking at it, you can't say, I am the body, and say my body. Again, you've got the basic idea that there's something that is prior to the body that's be able to say it. So that I am. And that's the great mantra, is I am that. That's what they tell us. And what's the that? Well, you don't have to look far for that either, because you know everything is that. Isn't that a chair you're sitting in? Isn't that the room we're in? Isn't that the space in the room? Isn't that the tree outside, the sky, the flower, the mountains, the hills? Everything is that already. And if I am that, that means that this pattern, shape and form, and all those other things I just mentioned, are pattern, shapes and forms. That this pattern, shape and form is nothing other than that also. So we hear the word and we take that to be something other than what we are. And because we got this seeming body, this pattern that seems very real, we'll say, this is what I am, or that is what I am. But am I that body? Again, you look at it, you say, my body. You say, my mind. Who are you talking about? Who or what is the I am saying it? Is it the thought, the saying it? Well, you can drop the thought. You give up the thought every night. You don't disappear, it's not the finish of it. Come and wake up next morning, so you can't be the thought. And you realise that all the I am concept is a thought, a word, which you gladly give up every night when you go to sleep. If you were that in reality, you'd be frightened of losing sight of it, because it'll be the finish of you. But you spontaneously and naturally know it, because you don't give it up at all. And so, but we go along believing in it. I am this person, I am this body, I am this thing, I am not that thing. So I am is what is I am. It is the sense of presence, the knowing that I am. Anyone who's not knowing right now that you are, try and tell me you are not. Try and negate the beingness. You realise if you say I am not, there's something you've got there that's nobody to say. So you can't negate your beingness, or you can't negate the knowing of it. But we ignore it. Take ourselves, when this I am comes to be, there's concepts that come up with it. I am this person. I am this Bob, this Australian, this is a good fella or not so good. Crooked on the world, or the world's crooked on him, or whatever other concepts are going on that's been added to it over the years through the capacity of reasoning, trying to work it out in a thing we call mind. Am I the mind? you say, look at it, you say no. You say my mind. So who's this me or I that believes it's other than the mind, or I am this body? Who is this I am? When you look into I am, you realise it's a sense of presence, the knowing that you are. Anyone here who is not aware of being right now? Nobody's jumping up and saying, yeah, I'm not being. You can't, because you know damn well you are being, whether you're saying it or not. But being this or being that, the concept you put on it, we put on I'm being this person, this separate entity, this individual. And that is just a concept or a thought that you have yourself about yourself and believe in. So you've taken yourself to be other than what you really are, a conceptual idea, an image. Nisargadatta tells you that nothing can trouble you except your own imagination. Break that word imagination down to image in, imagine. And realise that's all that's happening. You're creating a mental or conceptual image of what you believe yourself to be and taking it to be real. And that's all that can be affected. Something comes up and you like it, or you don't like it. Who or what doesn't like it? This concept, I am. What is the concept, the thing? What's a concept? Definition of concept is that which appears to be. A conceptual image, an image made up of thoughts, ideas, concepts. And they tell you again, when you look into these ancient texts, you'll see it's all there. It's all there, it's always been there. Different ones, not just the Catholics or the Protestants or the Hindus or the Muslims or whatever else. They're all saying it somewhere along in their talks, but all of them are losing sight of it and realise that the I am is the sense of presence. It's the life itself. As Christ told you, I am the way. It is the way to go to find yourself. Look into that I am and test it out. I am the truth. And it says, know the truth and the truth will set you free. And people thought he was talking about himself. He wasn't. He was talking about that sense of presence. It's the sense of presence, the awareness of being, that translates into that thought I am. If I ask you who you are, you'll say, I am Bill, or I am Harry, or I am Brendan, or I am Jim. Put that concept on us straight away. None of us jumps up and says, I am the absolute. Fearful of saying that because they'll get out the hammer and tacks and have a little place for it. Tack you up in the wall on the tree. And so we're fearful of saying what we truly are. But when you look into it, can you say you are not that? You know, I am that knows I am. I am that being. I am that knowing. I am that loving to be. I am that presence awareness. Because that knowing is present. Are you knowing yesterday right now? You can't know yesterday. It's gone. You can recall it, and what you're recalling mightn't be really what it was. It's only what you can remember of it. Can you say, I am a moment from now? You can't, because it hasn't happened yet. So when you're saying, I am this absolute right here and right now, and it's always right here, right now, present. It is presence awareness, not a past awareness or a future awareness. It is the awareness of what is, being. Anyone who's not being, which is that, existence. It is the awareness of knowing. Anyone who's not knowing right now? No, of course you're not. You're knowing. It is a sense of loving to be. Do you want to be dead right now? No. So you are that Satchitananda right now. And we take ourselves, because we're not recognising it as this now moment, we think it's some future time we need to acquire it or become of it. And we get lost, lose sight of it, and go into this conceptualising. And they tell you the great perfection. They're talking about Satchitananda as the great perfection, as the absolute. There's nothing other than that. It is all there is and only what is. And not that I was that or I will be that, but I am already and right here in this presence and now. I am that presence awareness itself. What is presence? Can I grasp this present moment? I can't. Because why not? Because it's now. Can it be grasped? It can only be grasped right now. Can it be this imagined future that I have, that I'm so-and-so, or I will become? I can't. You see, the time itself becomes a concept. It's only a mental concept also. Past, present and future. Is there a past if I don't think about it? I just dropped thought. Didn't say anything. Wasn't thinking anything. There was a natural spontaneous seeing, hearing, functioning going on. But there's no conceptualising and verbalising about it. What could I say was wrong with that? Couldn't say there wasn't anything at all wrong with it. What was right with it? Didn't have to divide it into right or wrong, or good or bad, or pleasant or painful. It just was as it is, right here and right now. And that's what they tell you. The great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. It is a phenomenal manifestation. And they say all this manifestation is the definition of phenomena. It's all a phenomenal manifestation. And the definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. So you can't say this manifestation is not appearing. You can't say you are not. And all these patterns and shapes and forms in the room, you can't say they're not. They just are. 20 minutes ago, there was only 2 of us in this room. Now look at the room, it's full of people. What's real? What hasn't changed about it? And you look at it, you realise the only thing that hasn't changed, that's got no beginning or no end, or no pattern, shape or form, is the space itself. You can't give space any shape, any beginning, any pattern, any form. That's why they call it the base of all this phenomenal manifestation. And things appear in this manifestation, which we're all appearances, and disappear. But you are nothing but that life itself, that awareness itself, that beingness. And is there any one of you that is not knowing right now? And you realise, I know, I am. I know that I am. And what's I am is a concept, a word. Am I the Word? It tells you in the beginning was the Word. That's what God is. The Word was with God, the Word was God. All made up by these words. It tells you in Isaiah, the Bible, be still and know that I am God. But that I am, they're not talking about the concept. You cannot grasp life or concept with a word. That's prior to the Word. In the beginning was the Word. Now they talk about Adam and Eve, the first couple of humans to appear in this world. We're in the Garden of Eden, paradise. Everything was going right. What happened? They ate of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What's the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Isn't it a conceptual image? Words you've picked up, and we do. As Shakespeare tells you, when you start thinking, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Or good and evil, present and painful, happy and sad. That's what we've picked up. We learnt words. And it's the same with you and me. I didn't know anything about the first couple of years of my life. Why? I was alive. People tell me I was alive. I was born such and such a day. But I didn't know anything about it to put any words in it because I didn't have any words. Until I picked up words, I had no idea of being a separate entity, an individual. So the same for me as it was for Adam and Eve, the same for you and everybody else. We're kicked out of paradise into this world because of the Word. We take the Word to be real. And we can do a lot with the Word, a lot in the appearance and the patterning, shaping and forming. Seemingly good stuff because, as Shakespeare tells you, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking so makes it so. And that's all that thinking is. This is good, I like it, that's bad, I don't like it. This is happy, and I like it, but that's unhappiness, I don't want it. So that's all that's happening. The vibration of word is going on, and the belief in it. If you look up your dictionary, you look up the word belief, you'll see the belief, definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. Means we've accepted these words without investigating, isn't that so? When you are told you're little Billy or little Jane or whatever your name might be, aren't you saying today, I am little Billy or I am little Jane? We've taken on the word, we believe it. You're not saying that I am the absolute. I didn't look into it and see that I wasn't the word, I was prior to the word. And I am that absolute, I am that life essence, that beingness, that knowingness, and that loving to be. And that is prior to thinking, prior to thought, prior to the word, before. And if there's a bit seeming before and after, doesn't that imply the concept of time? Well, is there a before? I can't say there is a before without grasping it, trying to grasp with the concept. Is there a past if I don't think about it? Because that's what the before is, it's past now, it's gone. And I realise I can't say there's a past without thinking about it. Is there a future without a thought? And I'll see past and future are concepts. They're all words we've learned. And the word is not the thing. Have a look at the word, investigate it. I am this body. Well, am I this body? Investigate it. What's this body made up of? When I look at it's made up of concepts, words, sounds, ideas, images. Body is a word. Things are in the body, the air, the earth, the fire, the water, the space, all the contents that make up this body, all words. All the thoughts and stories that are going on are all words, concept, and all about some so-called previous time that is not the fact right now. Go back and live a moment ago if you can. Recall it as it actually was. You might be recalling it exactly as it was, but when are you recalling it? Now. It won't be what you're recalling. It'll be a fresh and new idea and concept about it. And the future, you can imagine and anticipate a future. But you can't live a moment in the future. You can only anticipate it. So you see, when you recognise you are prior to the word, you are before the word. And what's this now? Well, right now, what is it? Am I unaware right now? Well, I know that I'm not. There is an awareness here in which words, pattern, shapes and forms are expressing, sights and sounds are hearing, are expressing, right in the spontaneous immediacy. And I realise as soon as they've been expressed, they're gone. And another one is expressing. So past, you can only recall parts of it. You can't recall it all. So it's not the actual. Future, you can anticipate and imagine. You don't live a moment in the future. What about this now? When's that happening? Right now. When did I say that? Right now. What's happening now? I'm saying it right. Can I move away from this presence? Conceptually, I can take the belief there's future, but actually I can't. And what is happening in this now? Well, I'm being right now, and I'm knowing that, and I'm loving to be. That is the Satchit. That is the existence. That is the consciousness. That's the loving to be. Can you negate that? Can you say, I am not? You can say it, you can say all these words again, proving that the word is not the thing. It's only happening, it's only appearing. So we've taken on the wrong slant on ourselves and we live according to that. And when you look into that, it's only me that can be fearful. Only me can be anxious, only me can be unhappy, or despairing, or jealous, or who is. Me is the cause of this fear, this anger, this unhappiness. I'm relating it to the conceptual image I have about myself. I was like this a moment ago and it was good. Now it's gone and I don't like it. So the relation relating to it is changing constantly because of the conceptualising that's put on it. Shakespeare tells nothing either good or bad with it unless I think about it. If I don't think about it, where does it leave me? Well, without the thought, I haven't disappeared. You can pause the thought for a moment and see. When you go to sleep at night before thoughts start in your dream, is it the end of you? It's not. When you wake up in the morning, the dream stops, the dream's finished, and what was in the dream disappears. Why? Because it was all a fiction. It wasn't real. But what you wake up to, when you're in the house or the garden or somewhere away from where you are right now, it's all disappeared. But what's happened? You wake up to this, where the world where it left off the night before. And this waking state you're sitting in now started from the moment you woke up this morning. And has always remained as that presence awareness. Awareness of being. And that's what they call it. Being, knowing, a loving to be, or awareness of being is bliss. Being aware of. And you are aware of everything. Isn't that so? You're aware of everything that is for you right now. Aware of. Well, what's the of that you're aware of? It must be some concept, some image, and some idea. I'm aware of that number of people down at the end of the room there. There's 6 of you there. There's an awareness of you. Where are they? They're not in my head, but there is an awareness of you. So awareness of something is not its reality. The of has become a concept. an idea, an image. It seems to be real. And from that point of view, there'll be an image of something up this end that will seem to be real. But everything you are aware of is objective. And we take it all to be real because we looked into it so long. Oh yeah, you're real, I'm real, this is real. But what about those that were there yesterday? They're not here today. You were aware of them yesterday. Where are they now? You'll say they'll be there at such and such a place. That's all a conceptual image again of some imagined place where they'll be. But it's only what you can be aware of right now. And the fellow that you're aware of mightn't be aware of you if he's down the road somewhere doing something else. But he's appearing as awareness right now. So that's how it seems connected. And it all is the space-like awareness, is all in space. But that space-like awareness is the base which everything appears in. The basic space of awareness. If it wasn't for that space, there couldn't be that fellow down the road. There couldn't be you at the end of the room. There couldn't be anything other than this seeming pattern. And you realise that this seeming pattern is also space. That is seemingly self-aware. It's aware of being this personal self. And there's only one self. We've taken the person itself to be this, that and the other, you, me and everything else. All different concepts of we believe this person to be. But the person is not reality. Nisargadatta tells you that clearly in his book. The person is not reality. No, it's not. The reality is that life or energy in which the concept you, me or something else appears in. Just a concept. A concept is a mental construct, a word. Now have a look at these words. Is the word the thing? Take the word water. Bring me water, I'll say to you. What would you bring me? You'll bring me something that we drink as water, but it's not the word. Because when you look into it and break it down, all it is hydrogen and oxygen. The word in this world, these bodies are made up of elements, air, earth, fire, water, space. We call it a body, a person. And we're putting all these concepts and labels on it, but the word is not the real. And so we're locked into these things, remain locked into them, until we're moved to investigate. And you people wouldn't be here if you weren't looking for a little bit more than what you were told or came to believe. That you are this human being, that this God that's going to beat the shit out of you if you don't do the right thing. And there's the devil, and there's this, that and the other. All these concepts they put it. There's other worlds and things like that. All concepts that we believe and are happening. And in that belief, that leads us into all sorts of problems. Some of us start to wake up and say, that's not good enough. Must be more to it like that. And those that do that are starting to see that. And there are people in this room that do see it. And see the difference. And that's what needs to happen. And nobody can do it for you. Because there is nobody. If all these concepts and ideas and pattern shapes and forms, concepts, are all objects, what can you do with an object? The object is not you. You are the subject. And it is only pure subjectivity. But the objects appear to be there, and we take them to be real and get locked into that problem. Know the truth, as they say. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. What is there to be free from? Free from this belief that you are the person. And the belief in the concept in being the person. The definition of belief is an unquestioned acceptance in the absence of reason. Acceptance of an alleged fact without positive knowledge or proof. Well, you've got so many beliefs out there, put them to that test. Are you the body? Well, for start, if you say my body, well, what's the body made up of? You realise the body's made up of elements, air, earth, fire, water, space. Those elements can be broken down to subatomic particles, into pure energy. What's water? What's fire? All different, made up of different elements and different things. Not how they appear to be. So when you investigate those things along those lines, are you going to continue to believe in the false? And that's what they tell you in the scriptures. It's all there. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. What is there to be free of? To be free of the belief that you are something other than the truth. I am this person. Anyway, I've been rambling on long enough. So you're there and get Cat will host it and tell you what to do, but we ask you to all question it, or what those that know it tell us about it, because it can be said in many different words, as you say, in all the different religions and all the rest. All say it, but all corrupt it in some way or other. And different ways you get pointed to, and something you might hear, which will gel with what you're ever on, what you already know, and takes you further along the path until you'll do what they say. You'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And in that freedom is peace and joy, well-being, the love of being. So away you go.
You have cat little trouble.
Cat paralysis.
I'm staggering around. I don't know why she is. I can't walk.
So we have a couple of comments here from online community. Welcome again, and welcome everyone who is with us online. Catherine and James are sending love and gratitude. And thank you for a beautiful spiel. That was beautiful, beautiful. And Jyoti says, good morning, Bob, Kat, and everyone. And Ariel says, sitting in my garden, surrounded by nature and beauty, and overflowing with love and appreciation for this expression of truth coming from the essence of Bob's words. Thank you. And that had few people second on that one. And Anika sends love and hearts. So that's from people who are online with us. And now we invite everyone, as Bob says, to whoever have clarity, complete or even partial clarity in certain areas, speak it up, because that may resonate and inspire others, and that will be reinforced in yourself. And whoever has doubts, bring them on, because we can just very simply translate it into the reality of this moment. You can see how what obscures that simplicity of pure existence right in this moment is usually some sort of a snippet of imagination, story from past or future, or doubt is nothing but the story as well. But bring them on, because that is supposed to be, now we are conducting a group investigation. So we want people to participate actively and see how it works for you. Bob is sharing it from the heart, and whoever are sharing, I find that energy really heartfelt. What happened? Cat, sorry. So we have, Catherine also says, Bob is one of the greatest luminous voices of modern times. Brilliant, dazzling, eternal. Beautifully said. Hi, Ben.
Hello. I was just thinking during the week a couple of things. The first thing that struck me is that to focus too much on awareness itself one can get caught up and miss another subtle characteristic that's necessary, because the thing that's going with it is knowing, what they call vidya, the non-conceptual, non-dual knowing. And what keeps one bound in this samsaric existence is that not knowing, and what we in English call ignorance. And if you look at that word, it's ignore ants. It's when we ignore what we actually, the essence of our being is, that we get kept up in this bound samsaric existence, all the suffering and all the rest of it. So it's the knowing that's required, and all it's required to do there is to stop ignoring what is actually there.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Yeah.
You don't want it?
Did you want to say something, Jane?
No.
Ah.
Can I ask?
Yes, speak, please, Mitra.
I'm still in the head level. But, so this, okay, the way I understand it is that this I amness in me and the isness of the object or other things is basically that common factor in all of us, that existence.
Yeah.
And that is, it's that, right? It's the only thing that is, and it's kind of aware, it knows itself. That's all we can say about that existence. Like, we know that we exist and nothing more.
Yeah.
But then so I can see that we all share that existence. I don't feel it in the space between, say, me and Bob and you and, you know, other stuff. I don't feel that existence in the space, but I guess it will reveal itself to me when it reveals itself to me.
And it
to
doesn't,
see it, yeah.
It doesn't really matter, because see, if you think of electromagnetic waves being in the space, you can only discover them when you have the device that will translate them or decode them.
Yeah.
You need the television, or you need a radio or something. So you are the television or the radio, you are the transmitter receiver. That's the body mind as such is the pattern through which this life can know itself. If there is no pattern, there is not only there is no possibility to know, but it's also no need.
Yeah.
If there is nothing there or no one there who even cares to acknowledge the existence, there's no need. So assuming that the space will reveal itself as self-aware, it's not even necessary. Just stay with what is happening right now, and don't feel that this is not enough. That's the feeling, that, oh, maybe later I will get some more. It's no later. This is it, really. It is that simple. Okay. If the space doesn't reveal its own self-awareness, well, maybe there isn't any. Just keep it simple.
Okay.
And when you really put your heart into the essence of the present moment, it shines of itself. But as Ben beautifully highlighted, when it is ignored, the attention gets scattered around other stuff, around the distractions. But when that attention is back home, in the source of it, it shines of itself and reveals the aspects of itself that are mind-blowing.
And and I also had a question, like, it just came to me somehow through what Bob was saying, that so if that isness that is in objects and amness that is in me, it's just a common factor, it must be what we call God, right? In a way.
Omnipresence, they call God omnipresence.
Yeah,
which is presence, which is everywhere in everything
Yeah.
and in everyone.
and it's kind of felt in us as being,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
So, but then does that God or whatever we want to call it knows that it's a God or
No, no,
doesn't?
no. The concept, even the need to objectify existence comes only from that device there, the translation. Does electromagnetic wave knows it is electromagnetic wave? It doesn't need to know. It is life itself. It doesn't need to have self-definition. It comes through the radio as a voice, which can be translated as a speaker saying something. There will be a content of it. There's no need for that existence of its own, knowing that there is an existence, or that self-awareness of existence, the undeniability of existence is enough. But what this existence is, whether it is God, or it is absolute, or it is light, or it is emptiness, or it is totality, that one is only added through the translator. That's a word.
But that's to us, like, probably we don't have access to knowing more than just knowing that we exist. We don't have access to it, we don't even need it, right? But from God, the whole existence
But that is
perspective.
what you are. That you are. God is not separate. God experiences itself through and as you. It doesn't have any other way. You know, if you call it God, that, and I love again how Bob shows it as the field of energy, intelligence energy. Its static aspect is pure space, unadorned space. Its dynamic aspect is the movement, and the movement creates the cell, the sperm, the ovum. It grows itself a body, it gives itself the eyes and the ears and the mouth. That is the movement of that same field of energy. And now it gives itself a thought. Is there a God? Does the God know it is a God? Is there a God bigger than this which is expressing through this mouth and looking through these eyes? Those are all thoughts.
And you know, in that it says God in his unicity can't know itself. So the word there is unicity. That's
Unicity.
unicity is
Unity.
oneness.
Oneness. It can't know.
No, so that's why it expresses in that.
So with all that intelligence that it created everything.
How can something that's one, only oneness, not a second, how can that know itself? Because it's already one. You know what I mean?
Undivided.
Absolute.
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 Absolute
Can be
means
absolute and
oneness.
So in the oneness, why it
It knows itself the same way as you know you're aware. It's called reflexive awareness. The only reason you know you're aware
You
is
need
because
the mic.
And you
awareness.
need the microphone as you can't even hear you.
Oh,
no
sorry.
one else is.
Sorry.
We can hear you, but the people online can't.
I can't.
The only reason you know you're aware is because of what's called reflexive awareness. Awareness itself can reflexively understand and know its own awareness. So what you're projecting as being God or the Creator or anything else is just that level of awareness of being that reflexively knows itself. It doesn't actually need to create any of this. It knows itself the same way as you know you are aware. It's that same thing. But the dynamic energy, as Kat was saying, is just its play. It just expands and expresses immeasurable amounts of everything. It
Because
doesn't
it
need
can.
to, but it doesn't not need to either, right? But that underlying awareness that you know yourself as I'm aware is the same as what is. And all of this is just what is. And it reflexively knows itself as it is.
Sorry, it's short. You
Here.
can repeat
Here.
my
Thanks.
question. Okay, sorry.
Just for now.
So, if that's okay, so what's the difference between me with all of my ignorance that I don't even
The
fully know what I'm
the
talking
difference
about.
is that we are caught up
And
in
God.
we are caught up in literally ignorance. We are caught up in the not knowing. We think because of what we see with our sense equipment, we think there is separation. Again, as Bob says, it's just a thought. There is no separation. But what we perceive to be separate, we think we are, which is an incorrect assumption. When you go further into the investigation, as Bob has obviously done many, many times and keeps talking about it, there is nothing separate. There is just that field of energy which appears in multitudinous forms, which we use multitudinous words to describe. But it's that one underlying essence. And I said it to Bob this morning. I said, it finally clicked to me. There's never been a duality.
No.
So I said to Bob, you and I are different, but we're of the same essence. And a thing is only its essence in the end.
Yes.
So even though we're the same essence, we are in fact the same, the one thing, but we appear different. We act different.
Yeah, but my question is, where is
Microphone's
that
not working.
intelligence coming from them?
Don't know which one.
No one knows. It's
Sorry?
not able to know.
The intelligence that creates this
Fundamental
complication.
isness, don't try and find it because it's not able to be found.
No, but that,
Just
what about the
accept that you miss
intelligence?
all of this because you can't find it. Look for it. Spend your time. Look for it. You won't find anything but your own awareness reflecting back.
Sorry.
Okay.
Mitch, I love your question. They go right to the heart of it. But it's, I just think something you said. You see it appearing in you, or appearing in Bob, or in someone. How it appears in you. I think it's like it's the other way round. Like we appear in it, or you're appearing in it, and you're taking it to be you, when really it is. It's universal. It's in you. It is the intelligence energy that you are. You're not separate from it. You are it. And
I get that. My question is, then all this amazing intelligence that just imagine the body, right? Where that comes from, if it doesn't even know. I mean, where does that come from?
if it is primary, it doesn't have to know anything. It is it. Like it doesn't have to say where do I come from, because it just is. It's like the question where do I come from is just like
No,
who
not
am
where
I?
do I come from, but where that
Where is
intelligence is coming
It's the
from.
same. You are it. You are it.
Well,
There's nowhere.
And no when.
Yeah,
It's
and no when.
spaceless.
That's all existing in the thought.
It's
Is
always
where. Isn't it?
Who wants to know? It's
Yeah,
also
yeah.
existing in the
Who's
thought.
got the
Maybe we should
That's
just
right.
get one at a time.
Well, my answer to that was that consciousness is vastly interconnected, and the whole field of consciousness is deeply interconnected, and it's united by yin, which is empty space, which is presidented in yang. So I just find that the universal allness is deeply interconnected, and all things create consciousness, because it's viewing like allness from slightly different perspectives, creating a vastness of interconnection, which for me creates consciousness. So I just see that. Where does that come from? I don't fully know, but I don't know. It's just
But it's not just about it exists. I get that. That's the nature of consciousness. It's the existence. I get that. But I just don't understand something. But it's also very intelligent. It's incredibly intelligent. It's like it's actually moving towards just experiencing itself and towards something. Like if it's in me, I can feel it. Like it just wants to find the truth of itself so badly. So it's got some intelligence. And I just wondered if that intelligence, I mean, we can't just, if we say, I thought that is God, that's what Bob called intelligent energy, that is God. But you're saying God doesn't even know it's God, or it's intelligent,
through you.
or
It knows through you.
Sorry. See, the thing is, when you were asking, is that funny Zen saying when you were asking, what's the difference between someone who is in ignorance and someone who is in a clarity? There is a funny Zen saying the only difference between the enlightened and unenlightened is that unenlightened believes there is a difference. There is no other difference than a belief. You're different to Bob, only one belief. You are one belief away from realizing what he has realized so long ago, that the only way for life to live, experience and express itself as God, if you like that word, is this moment as it appears, through these eyes, these ears, these thoughts. Now you can see how the questions, where does it originate? When did it happen? Like Bob also sometimes says, oh, it was 13.8 billion years or whatever. Those are all concepts invented by the translating mechanism, by the mind. The whole time is invented by that programming. If there is no mind, and we say straight away, the only thing that you can conceptually understand about non-duality is that the mind can't grasp it, ever. Because the mind trying to grasp it will put it in a context of past and future. When did it happen? Where did it originate? See the differentiation straight away. You have open field and then it divides it into time spaces or locations. It can't do any other way. Mind is the instrument of dividing the non-dual one field of presence, of being, into sections, times, experiences, identities, beliefs, all of this. So you can't, from that super divided 10,000 things, get the answer about the field in which all of them arise and disappear. It's impossible. It makes no sense. So the answer to the primordial question, and I think somebody also said it, where does it originate from? Well, what is that question? What is it? What is the question? Not what is the content of the question, but like Bob says, who is the questioner? Isn't that question of itself just another appearance in the field, just another way that intelligence vibrates to distract itself from this present moment? And once you recognize, that's what it is. Cool, good on ya. You caught me again. Yeah. And you laugh, and the question dissolves. There is no one who wants to know. The question is recognized for what it is, a distraction. And you back, landing in that beautiful bed of presence. Just yummy, delightful, radiant presence. Aliveness, a mystery, a miracle of existence. Now, another thing, but it bugs me that Bob seems any other comparison and any other identity. And again, you recognize, I think I like Ben was using the words which also exist in some traditions. What was it? Mental energy, dynamic energy. Dynamic energy. You can see how that field, from being static in the bed of being into being dynamic, asking questions. What is it? Come on. And embodying that question, identifying, creating the questioner, and again getting distracted from pure presence. If you see the way that distractions come into a picture, you will be more interested in the way that dynamic energy vibrates and creates those shapes and forms than what the particular shape or form is. It will be more interesting how it actually comes and takes you for the ride than what the particular right direction and content is. The thought, the way it appears, is more fascinating than what it says. So you now may not be that interested in what the thought has to say, as you would be interested in a way that dynamic energy arises in that field of space-like awareness. And looked from this perspective, what thought can ever do? They will keep arising. They will keep bugging the system too. The mental images, conceptual images, the questions, all of this is part of the dream character and it will be going on. But there is part of that field which is actually marveling in a way it plays out, rather than being lost in the content. And I'm sure you've experienced, everybody does, the thoughts that are very little relevance, the thoughts you can also see how the mind is prioritizing, this is important, this is not. You see how burning desires, you say, this consciousness really looking, searching for itself, it wanting to discover and blossom, it longs for itself, creates questions which feel like, if I only get that worked out, I'll shine even brighter as consciousness. But no, consciousness is already shining in its fullness. And those questions are taking away some of that energy, some of that attention, into a sidewalk, into a, like someone was telling on our Zooms, on the train of thought, and the train off it goes. See the nature of question.
Sorry, I forget what I'm going to say. Sorry. I just said in quite a simple way. I think there's just a tendency for, it's probably probably summary of what Kat's saying as well, but there's a tendency for distinctions to arise in the thoughts, so specialness. So just the idea that there is intelligence is like, oh, there must be something a bit different and special out there. But really when that brain is empty, there's no knowing, there's no intelligence, there's nothing distinct from anything. So it's just, to me, I don't see intelligence. I don't see some of these basics we do talk about here. I don't see them when the brain's empty. And when the brain's not empty, I don't really consider that being in the moment. So that's really it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's another description of the same. I have a couple of comments from Bradley says, intelligence is not to be confused with the concept of intellect. That is a great highlight. Bob always says it, intelligence. And I love when Tony says, she doesn't even label it intelligence. Why label it? It's just nothing.
The sentence, intelligence shouldn't be mixed up with...
shouldn't be confused with the intellect. The way we actually interpret the concept of intelligence. That there is something that is having some sort of a processing capacity there. There is no processing capacity.
I meant not about process, but it was more like, if it doesn't even know it's God, how could it...
It does through you. It does know it exists.
I don't think
I
am God.
No, of course, because that's bullshit.
But how can
I am
be
formed?
so intelligent? I mean, it's so intelligent. I'm so stupid. That's absolutely, yes, that's a good question.
Beautiful.
Like in biological form, it
transcends.
is very intelligent. Like all the biology is very intelligent, like all the cells and how they evolve and all that. When it comes to the mind, it just sounds like, really unintelligent and stupid. But I mean, in the biological thing, it is, whole existence, it just been surviving for billions of years. I don't know how many years. That's intelligent. I just wonder how that does intelligence.
This is a concept. Now, you have a concept of God and you have the concept of intelligence. What we are talking about is transcending the concept of intelligence and stupidity, and God and godlessness. What we are talking about is prior to the division to intelligent and stupid, God and godless, prior to it. We call it intelligence. I think Bob took it because he actually liked the expression of the field as intelligence, energy. Krishnamurti used it at some point. And it is a good description, but it is not it. What we are talking about is completely beyond concepts and words. Intelligence is a label. That label is having nothing to do with intelligence or stupidity.
And so is God.
And so, yeah, absolutely. And
back to Bob's spiel. The word was God.
Yes.
The Bradley, he made that comment probably about 10 or 15 minutes ago, So it doesn't really relate to what you were saying. It's a general reminder to not confuse the intelligence, because it's totally beyond description and it's not intelligent. Intelligence energy is neither intelligent nor stupid. It can't be described. It's neither bright nor dark. It's neither existent nor non-existent. Grab that. You can't. Quit trying. It can't be comprehended by the conceptual thinking, which is black and white, divisional thinking where you have two ends of the stick. It's neither this nor the other. And now we have Rai Man, which is, I think it's Janine, isn't it? Intelligence and God are just two labels in the graveyard of thoughts. Beautiful. I love it. Beautiful. Two labels in a graveyard of thoughts. And Mike says, the mind is like a magician seeming to turn reality into concepts, self, time, objects. And we are tricked. But if we understand this, seeing through the tricks can happen. Yeah, absolutely. But tricks are also the activity of awareness. Absolutely. And Adrian?
Yeah, I had something to say, but I think I've lost it now, but I'll give it another. The awareness itself won't need to know anything. It won't have any questions to try and understand itself. It already knows itself. So anything trying to get a question or an answer to something is a red flag. That's a thought trying to understand something. So the thoughts aren't you. The thoughts haven't got nothing to do with you, your real essence. So anytime you're using that tool is already going down the wrong rabbit hole. Okay, so I like what Kat said about the thoughts create the questioner, and you're taking yourself to be the questioner, trying to get. So it's like seeing the space out of which those thoughts arise and looking at that, not the thoughts.
Well,
So, I don't claim to have any solutions for you, but...
No. But I have a question here. I have a question here. I'm already that, right? I am the existence. Like, I am that, even though I haven't realized it. Whatever.
There's
I don't
no
know
one
what
that
to
realized.
say.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's fine.
You exist. Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You
So
don't
I
know
am
you
that.
exist?
So where
You do.
this, yeah, I do exist.
So you
Yeah,
realize that you exist.
that's all yeah. But when you say the question that comes, it is also that, isn't it?
It's also
Because
that,
it comes
but in
to
this-
existence.
Yeah,
And
but you need
because
to see
I
that's
am
not you.
that,
It's in the space between the butts.
it's that. No.
Perfect.
No. What I wanted to say, it's the question is also coming from that, because I mean, what else I can be, right? If I'm
Yes,
that,
but you
the
think
question
you're
is
asking
also
the
that.
question. You think it's you asking a question. That's just an appearance coming out. So it's not taking the question to be, I'm asking the question. It's like
The question
what you are is prior.
appearing.
You are prior to the question.
Well, Bob wants to say something.
Yeah.
If you say everything is coming from that, well, what's not that?
Yes, nothing.
Nothing's not that. Questions included. Nothing's not that.
That's right.
That is all there is. And what's the great mantra? I am that.
I am that with all of my ignorance.
You'll never understand it with the mind.
No, there's no
I
answers
am
in
that.
the mind. No answers in the mind.
Yeah, no answers in the mind, but mind is also that, isn't it?
Yes, but you're
Is there a mind?
I don't know who is looking for an answer, but I guess it's that, isn't it?
Otherwise,
No one
wouldn't
there.
have a question.
There's no one there. If you actually see what's truly happening, the question arises. the concept that there is someone looking for the answer also arises. You don't know your next thought. Your next thought may be another question containing another assumption that there is a me wanting an answer to a question. But this is just what arises in the field. Question, the concept of the questioner. Question is a thought. The concept of the questioner having or owning or construing that question is also a thought. So what is ever happening in the field of being knowing, in the awareness? There is a construct, vibration of energy, a thought arising. One thought forms a question, another thought forms the questioner. So that's all that ever happens. You're one thought away from that clear sky in which you do realize, and with it or without it, you always fully realize that you exist. Even when you don't think about it, you never not realize that you exist. That is prior to concepts. Even when you look into the eyes of a little baby, you can tell that baby is conscious. Conscious meaning aware of its existence. So you are aware of your existence, regardless of the content of distraction, always. How wonderful is that? Now the idea comes that that's not good enough, that there is more. What is it? It is just another idea, another distraction. Yeah, but you all realized it, but I haven't. What is that? That's another concept arising, another distraction. Yeah, but I can't relinquish this one because, it's the grandiosity. I can't assume that I am God. No, it's not about assuming. That's also thought. If you rest that thought as well, no assumptions required. So to say I am God, I am not God, or to say anything or say nothing at all is equal. The space is untouched by any stance. It doesn't take any stance anywhere. I am God, I am not God, I'm nothing, I'm everything. Who is there even to define itself as an object in consciousness? Consciousness doesn't need the object. See, definition is another thought arising. Move it out and leave that space open, completely open and empty. Another thought arises and it invents the thinker of it. Yeah, that's me. I want to know. If I only know that, blah, 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 blah. No.
It's like the question, what's wrong with right now? It's like the question, what's wrong with right now? That's good, eh? What's wrong with right now without a thought? Okay, how do I label it? As soon as you think that's a thought, and you're out of what's the question,
Yeah.
What's wrong with right now without a thought? No thought. How do I understand this or label it? Suddenly that's a thought.
Mm-hmm. You can also see how
The trouble is you want to understand it with the mind, but you can't.
you also can see the desire or the urge arising. It's not only the thought and the question arises, but also the desire or the longing or the urge to know arises in the space. I want to understand it. That's no different. That's just the same spontaneous arising of the energy forming into that shape or pattern of urge, and then me having the urge or having a desire or having a longing. That's another vibration arising, and you just notice it gently aside and you back home.
Okay.
And enjoy it. Peter has the mic. Oh,
I
Adrian?
just wanted to say, all you can hope for in thinking is a procession of paradigms. So the best outcome we can get is when you approach things from the point of view of thinking, all the time, thinking, is that we achieve a procession of frames of reference. But we never really feel satisfied with that, do you? Right? Well, we have to try a different way of approaching it then. This is not an intellectual thing. That's hard to imagine, isn't it? Hard to imagine what else could go on because your reality seems to be circumscribed by thinking, by the mind alone. But there is something outside that. It's very simple. It's everything. really. It's just the essence of your being. So you need to sit with that a little bit. Do you want to say something, Bob? Oh, yeah, it's fiddling. Just sit with that a bit longer rather than trying for another sort of conceptual solution. That's all.
What Adrian said, the red flag, whenever you feel those questions coming up, just imagine a big red flag, because because the minute there's a question, it's who wants to know. And the who, if you like, is the me, which can only live in your in the memory. Right? There is actually, and it's only a label, it's not who you are. It's just, so red flags, whenever there's a question, forget it.
Yeah, I think that's what Pete said. Like, it's if we can take the attention away from up here and come back into, come into the body, the breathing, that space, and just get in touch with that, and seeing that that is there outside of thought or before thoughts appear, and that's where the real essence is. So there's a whole lot going on here. I know the body is a physical thing, but there's an immensity of being here that doesn't involve thought.
So what I do as a practice is, I want to check my understanding with what you're suggesting, and Peter was, and everyone else. It's like during the day, I just go to that space of just feeling the existing, like feeling the awareness, the effortless awareness, or silence, or like quiet, or sometimes it comes as stillness. Just revisiting that whenever I remember, and then it will reveal itself to me. That's what you guys are saying, right?
And take those pointers and really.
No future.
No me. It's not going to reveal itself to me.
And it won't do it later.
Won't do that.
Yeah.
Just
The idea, yes. You may actually say it, that it unfolds of its own, but there is no me to which it will reveal itself in the future. Here is the tip from Raymond again. Try that one. Thoughts that aren't yours. How destructive are those? And Kathy says, if you imagine what we are talking about is the blue sky, the essence we are talking about is like the blue sky. And clouds coming and going, storms coming and going, sunny days coming and going, those are all thoughts coming and going. But what you truly are is beyond that, the blue sky. And now see whether it actually needs the future to reveal itself to someone. Blue sky, it exists. And now, does it really? If you look what the sky is just the empty space all the way into ad infinitum, however you want to imagine. And it isn't even there. Does space exist? It doesn't. It does. It does. Beyond concepts. So the blue sky, even if there is tons of activity going on in the atmosphere, in that thin layer of atmosphere, in that blue ball, does it touch the sky, the space that you are? You want to say something? No? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you are that sky. Recognition is immediate in this moment. It will not reveal itself later. In the absence of distraction, it is obvious. With the distractions, it might be a little bit obscured, but it isn't touched. You still are 100% aware that you exist. You may have concepts of what is it. I am in the body, or I am outside the body and the body is in me, or I am the cognizing, or whatever the concept is behind the I am. That's the clouding, that's the confusion. But the fact of existence is always clear. Even if you have the concept that you are queen of the universe, or that you are meaningless little piece of nothing, the fact that you exist is unquestionable. If you drop the idea that you need to know what you are, knowing that you are is enough. And that is never not here. Never not here. Only the mind tells you that, no, that's not good enough. Those people, they know something more than that. That's the point. They know less. There are a lot of people who have a lot of information on a lot of topics. We basically just put them all aside. Information about the diets or religions or upbringing or traumas or therapies or all of that aside. Go back to the source of all being, which is right here, right now. It didn't happen in the past. It is unborn, uncreated, right here, beyond the mind, because the mind creates the ideas of past. It's much simpler. Mind complicates it.
It's bad news, isn't it?
I think it's interesting what thinking or understanding what thinking is. So like when we're a kid or when we're a baby or whatever, the thinking isn't, there's no words to it. But how we learn is we experience something, like we see our surroundings and we wonder what it is, and then we bring it in and we store it as memory, and then it comes out. So knowledge is always time-based. We'll never find the answer. Like, it's just, you become in a prison. You can't get out. And it, like, day in, day out, it reinforces this thinking pattern. Like, it's always, we experience something, then that goes into the brain, and that comes out as a thought. So we can't get out of that, and the only way out is what Bob points to. Because it's like constantly, like we can't find an answer. It's not in that dimension. No.
Yep.
Like, it's just impossible.
Just going on to what Brendan was saying is that, when I was younger, it was like the thoughts were playful. I didn't hang on to my thoughts. They were just, there was no separation between reality and thinking and everything. It was just part of the whole thing. So when you had like daydream, it was no different to a nighttime dream. It was just all part of the whole thing. And the thoughts were just a plaything. But now, we tend to make it more real, hang on to it, and think it's important, but it's not. It's just it's only important if we make it so. But otherwise, we just get on with it, and the thinking just passes. Like
because as a kid, we're pretty curious about how did this? Like how did we get here? And
why is the sky blue?
Yeah, why is the sky blue? But it's impossible.
And ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like there's no. There's no possibility of even hanging on to it.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to.
It's not in thinking or thought. Thank you.
As well as I don't want to know, I don't need to know, I don't have to know, I don't know is the formula. The system, which is the intelligence energy, doesn't know or does know. It is none of my business. It doesn't know or it does know. It is none of my business. It is none of my business if it doesn't know or if it knows. What I know is to trust it. I know I'm trusting it. I'm trusting it. It is trustworthy. It is the only trustworthiness. It is the source of trustworthiness. It is what is, here and now. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hamish.
And whose business is that?
Is that? Oh, sorry. No, we just.
Good catch.
Yeah, I think the mic got lost. Yeah, okay, I have a couple of comments from online community. Mike says we don't revisit anything because we never leave or are separate from anything. And Bradley says pure intelligence energy holds both the saint and the sinner in equal, unconditioned loving awareness. Intellect says, preference, one or the other. There might be a payoff. And that's that.
Can I just say something? I just think a lot of this, for me, I think I used to want to try and understand it all, and I thought consciousness is, awareness is appearing in me and all this stuff. I think I had this sort of a diagram that kind of helped me, was like an X and Y axis, and the X axis is what I thought I was, which is like being born, having a first birthday, a 13th birthday, such and such happened to me, and blah, 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 and it'll go on, and one day I'll die, and all this, and it's all this on this timeline that I thought I was. The Y-axis was the here and now, which, is appearing along those points, but what I really am is the Y-axis, the here and now, and all that stuff about the story of who I was and that is not really important now. It's just being here with the emptiness, the here and now, but I can never understand it from the point of view of the X-axis for it being a person and wanting to understand this whole thing and who's labelling it and what the labels mean and all that. Forget about the labels and just be present with what's wrong without a thought.
Isn't that ultimately what all the inquiry is here? Is what we're doing right now, is deconstructing the whole conceptual reality that we've been led to believe. I mean, that's what the whole discussion is, and the more and more we deconstruct it, it all comes down to the non-conceptual, which is what Bob's pointing to all the time. And this is the only value of our discussions, which are invaluable, because really out in the so-called world, that we're all part of, that's what's been reinforced, like what Cliff was saying. And coming here is just pointing to something that is not normally or looked at, totally overlooked. And so this is the dilemma, isn't it? And that's really all we're doing. And we're so used to speaking in concepts and thinking in concepts and believing in time that coming here is the antithesis of all that. And I think Bob in the spiel this morning started off with Satchitananda, being consciousness, bliss, knowing, and it's not divided, it's all one. The words divide something that is indivisible, and that's what we are. It has that sense of knowing without the concept there already, even as babies, as being mentioned. They know without the words, which is totally overlooked. Yeah.
I get the sense.
Take it back.
I get the sense that you're looking for truth in the form of words. In the form of words. You're looking for truth in the form of words. Am I wrong? Maybe I am. That happens.
No, really?
Yeah, but that's like the question is an effort to get at some kind of an answer in truth in words, isn't it? And if you could just maybe...
Red flag.
Yeah. Red flag.
Maybe it's already here. It's just being masked a bit with the questions and the thoughts, and that maybe there's something else I can get, or some thought or some word that's going to stick. That's it. But that's already it. It's already here, isn't it?
And also what Catherine just said, it was beautiful, the deconstruction of the conceptual reality that is overlaid. And I love Bob often uses the word discarding. So discarding whatever is just standing in the way. Deconstruction or discarding. So yeah, red flags, why not? Yeah, not looking for the answer.
And I just want to say thank you to Bob for Satchitananda, because being, knowing, loving to be. Thank God Bob loves to be, because what would we, where would we get these pointers other than from this wonderful man?
And we have it in the words of the last song that I posted on Bob's website. If anyone is not familiar, because Julia wasn't familiar, there is another tribute song that people with love and gratitude sing for Bob. And one of the verses, it is Bob the sailor, always happy to be. And that is just such a wonderful example. Being in the situations that are challenging, being at his age where the health declines, and still having that sparkle of happy to be and a love for the truth and sharing it, giving it. So, yeah. See the song, it's fun.
Thank you.